The Super Speedway Podcast is a Dream Bigger media production. For news, photos, show notes, and information about advertising on the podcast, visit www.thesuperspeedway.com.
3, 2, 1.
Welcome to the Super Speedway.
Welcome to episode 173 of the Super Speedway Podcast, recorded Friday, October 2nd, 2020. I'm your host, Eric Young, and we're recording on Friday because my co-host, James Cush, is here. James, how's it going?
Hey, buddy. Hey, yeah. It's not my fault. Here's the thing. Real quick.
Here we go.
I live in a house with all women now, and I have, but there's more of them now, and none of them wield more power than the 2-week-old infant who is just raining down, just raining down, just pain for everyone. So that's my excuse.
Well, we
That's
get you
it.
for the whole show tonight, so
The whole show.
can't complain.
You did good without me last week. It sounds better
Yeah.
without me on it.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. I didn't even listen to it. I just recorded it and was done. It's like, I don't want to listen to myself ramble.
Yeah, well, at least I'm back. I'm promoted back up to co-host.
There you
and
go.
not guest. So
Yeah.
that's good. Yeah.
Yeah. I can't remember if I mentioned on the podcast last week or not, but I'm still battling a stupid cold that I've had for 2 weeks, but not coronavirus, so I'm good.
That's good.
Yeah. So
Thank God.
yeah. Yeah. So let's talk, James. We're gonna really quick run over this Las Vegas race because it's Friday, and tomorrow the Xfinity cars and the trucks are at Talladega, and it's a new race weekend.
Yes.
So
Talladega.
So there's really not a whole lot of reason to talk a lot about Las Vegas because of that. And also, I mean, not much happened at Las Vegas. I mean,
We got news this week, baby.
yeah. And so we're going to
Lot of
spend a
news.
whole lot of time on the big thing, which is the schedule. So we'll get there in a minute. If you guys are tuning in for that, don't worry, you won't have to wait long. But before we do that, South Point 400 from Las Vegas Motor Speedway, Kurt Busch gets a win on his home track for the first time. Gets to do it with no fans. So that was a little bit of a bummer, but pretty emotional win for Kurt Busch. Seemed pretty excited about it. And, you know, it's always cool to get a win at your home track, right?
Heck yeah, dude. He's been wanting that one for a long time.
Yeah, that's a high point for the Bushes for sure. And, you know, Kyle always wants it too. Kyle has one, but certainly always wants to get another one. So,
Yeah, man.
very cool. You know, and it's impressive with Kurt. I mean, he's not a front runner every week, but he's good enough to get in the playoffs each year. He's good
for a win every year,
Yeah,
man.
so I was gonna say he gets a win a year. I mean,
The most wins he's ever had in his career are 4 in the season.
Yeah.
And everything else is 3s, 2s, and 1s. It's really, he's got this really strange career, but I'm
Yeah.
looking at his racing reference page really quick, and like the last 4 seasons now, he's got 6 top 5 finishes to go along with that one win, and he's one top 5 away in 2020 from getting there again. So he's got a really weird racing reference page, but nonetheless, he's a champion. You know, it sounds like he's going out after next year. So I mean, the fact that he's still winning races every year is just, I mean, astounding.
yeah, I mean, it's not like Chip
On a
Ganassi,
lower
he's a
funded team.
top-notch
Exactly.
team.
Yep.
And, you know, he's kind of not really, I mean, I guess now probably this year maybe is in the top ride in that team, but
Yeah.
really wasn't
Elevated him.
previously. So,
Doesn't he always win these races the same exact way? Something screwy
Yeah.
happens and the field gets jumbled and he finds his way.
well, and they've done this a
up
couple
front.
times this year where they've tried strategy to get a win, and it hasn't worked. But it happened to work out here. They stayed out and they got the caution.
Yep.
You know, much to the chagrin of Denny Hamlin, who led 121 laps on the day, only driver with triple-digit laps led, and ends up finishing third. And that was only thanks to a couple cautions at the end that allowed him to get the track position back and get close, and then hung up with Matt DiBenedetto on the last restart. DiBenedetto finishes second. Great finish for Matt, although it hasn't resulted in a contract extension.
Here's the thing I wanted to say about Matt. He had multiple shots on restarts to take this win.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And just didn't get it done. I mean,
Well,
and
Matt,
that's
Matt
kind of a
says
bummer.
it was gearing, that Kurt had a different gear. Kurt was restarting in first. Matt was restarting in second. And that's
Yeah.
why Kurt was making him look so bad on the restarts, because Kurt would
Yeah,
just
Kurt-
launch.
Kurt's always been great at restarts,
Yeah.
though.
Oh,
Eric.
yeah.
I mean, he's world class. So is his brother. I mean,
Yep.
you get those guys up front, it's tough to beat. But you know, Matt had shots. He had shots to get the clean air, but like you said, it just didn't work out in his favor. So I was bumming for him because I was pulling for him. I wanted to see him get one. So, here's the hope. Here's the hope, and that was enough of a performance. He finished second at both Vegas races now this
Yep.
year. I mean,
Yep.
that's pretty cool.
Kurt Busch's 32nd win in 715 Cup Series starts. I mean, I don't think there's no debate, right? Kurt's going to be done in a couple years.
He said
Hall of
he said
Famer,
as much.
Hall of Famer,
50-50
right?
shot.
I mean, he's got a
Oh yeah,
championship.
he's got the championship. He's got a Daytona 500.
Yeah, he's
got
got the
some big wins.
credentials. 32 wins. That's good. That'll get him
he's
in.
got, and the fact that he resurrected his career to the point where he's at now. I think we talked about this probably last year when he won.
Yeah.
But he was dead in the water for a season and just made it happen. Made it all the way back. So, Hall of Famer for sure, no doubt. I mean, 32 wins right there, and like you said, he's pretty much done everything else in the sport. So
right,
he's good for it.
So my question before we move on, we'll look at points a little bit here. We got Kyle Busch, Clint Boyer, Eric Almirola, and Austin Dillon hanging outside of the top 8 now with one race into the round of 12. Dillon has mechanical issues.
What a bummer for him too.
32 points out after such a good first round.
He was so good in this race too, Eric.
Yeah.
He was top 5 pretty much all day. I mean, he wasn't going to win this race, but man, that team was doing everything it needed to do.
Yep.
And tough break. They're going to have to probably win this week. I would think to make it, and that sucks because they were really doing something.
Do you think? Do you think Kurt might have just knocked his brother out of the?
Yeah, I think you might have got one. You might have got one Busch in, one Busch out.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to look at this list of drivers that are ahead of Kyle and say, nah, Kyle will get past them. Because like Bowman, maybe, but Bowman he's just going to string along just enough to stay in that position.
Yeah, and Almirola's going to probably run really well at Talladega, and Kyle Busch is mentally defeated at Talladega. I feel like I've read some quotes from him. I mean, he's already said he's going to get caught up.
Kyle's mentally defeated on 2020. Period.
Yeah, he's
had
part
of the problem.
Yeah, I will say that Kyle's got that chance though because Talladega's a wild card and basically the Roval. I mean, Kyle, he hasn't won a Roval yet, but I mean, I wouldn't put it past that guy when the field's a little bit more balanced on a road course type track like that. I'm not counting him out. So
the Roval's
not 100%, but I think he's out. I do think he's out.
The Roval's the only track on the circuit that Kyle Busch hasn't won at for now until next year when we add 20 races or 20 tracks.
Sure.
So anyway, anything else to talk about with Vegas?
Chase Elliott had a really good run going too, and just kind of he got caught up in some stuff, and I mean that pit road deal messed up a lot of guys' night. Him especially there. But yeah, your playoff drivers were all Harvick a weird night, but he got the top 10. So I expected him to be better than that, but
Denny Hamlin dominated this night. He finished first in stage 1, second in stage 2.
That was a good comeback race for him.
121
really
laps led, and then and just comes up short at the end.
Hamlin needed this race, win or loss.
Yeah,
he needed to go out there and have a really good showing because that first round was not good to Denny Hamlin. So he's in a great spot now. He can go to Talladega and feel really good about himself.
Yeah.
Same with Harvick. Harvick's good.
Harvick's 61 points to the good.
Yep.
He just has to cruise mid-pack, and he can lock in the next round.
Yeah, don't get caught up in the big one. I mean, Harvick and Hamlin got the same strategy. Everybody else it's tight. I mean, anything can happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, those two guys and Kurt Busch, obviously, he's good. So
yeah,
really cool.
Good for Kurt to be locked in going into Talladega, man.
That's always got to be the best feeling in the series.
Got to be.
Going into Talladega with the win in your pocket. That's the best.
Yep. So we got some big news this week, James. Big news. Man. We got the 2021 Cup Series schedule. Lots to talk about here. We'll see. Both James and I have been discussing it with Todd all week long. So who knows how well the topic is going to continue on here on Friday. I don't know for sure yet because obviously the last thing I do before I post the episode is name the episode. But my tentative title for this episode is NASCAR Craps on the Midwest. So that might be what you saw when you opened up this episode tonight. Let's just run down. Here's what we got. These are the changes to the major changes to the 2021 schedule because everything's changed. All right.
Yeah, do it.
So first change, Homestead Miami moves to the second race this season behind the Daytona 500. Let's do this. Let's give each of these a A, B, C, D, E, F grade. Okay, James?
Okay, let's go.
So
Yep.
Homestead moves to second race this season. We keep the season in Florida for the first 2 races. Push back the move out west an extra race. I say A. What do you think, James?
This is A plus. Yep.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
got a great racetrack to follow the Daytona 500. So hopefully
Yep.
you can keep that pop going. So yeah, A.
Keep the momentum. You also got the
Love it.
first real race of the season. I use air quotes for the real race of the season. And it's on probably the best real track of the season.
Yep.
So
And you stay in Florida, so these teams can probably find a way to cut costs there, and I know that's a big part of the schedule going into the season too. So
yep.
A plus. Yep. Great move. Move.
March 28th, we go to Bristol Motor Speedway for the spring race, but we're doing it on dirt, James. It's
Oh,
a
boy.
dirt race.
You want me to give you my grade first?
You go first. What's your grade?
I'm gonna say this first of all. I don't like this, but I'm gonna give this a C
Okay.
because it's either gonna be a pass or fail, right? So
Yeah.
I am not loving the Bristol dirt idea. However, I'm open to seeing what this is going to be. I mean, hell, we've been asking NASCAR to make big changes, and this is as big as you're going to get. So, we're going to see Cup cars on dirt. I again don't love it, but let's see it. I mean, I'm open to seeing it. What do you think, man?
I'm going D.
Woo!
And my point is, first of all, the writing was on the wall with this. I think everybody could see.
It started coming out. Yeah, it was trickling.
Well, not even this year. When they put the trucks on dirt the first time, and everybody started saying we need to run the Cup Series on dirt, but there's not a dirt track that can handle the Cup Series. We've already put dirt on Bristol twice. We knew it could be done. That being said, I say if you're going to run a dirt race, run it on a real dirt track. This sucks. I don't like it, despite the fact that the Bristol spring race has been pretty lame.
Yeah.
My feeling with this is a twofold thing. This is get Cup cars on dirt, and it's also trying to fix Bristol. And if you're gonna fix Bristol, let's
We
just
already
fix
talked about
Bristol,
that. Yeah.
tear it up, and repave the damn thing.
Put it back to 36-degree non-progressive banking.
I'm with Dale Jr. Put freaking asphalt down on the thing again.
Yeah, Dale
Get
Jr.
rid of the concrete.
Did you see the King? The King has some quotes on this.
No, I didn't see what he said.
Basically said, we worked really hard in my era to make our sport legitimate, and this seems not legitimate. I was like, woo.
No,
tough words for the King.
I like the car. The only issue that I have with the Cup cars being on dirt, James, that's different from what it was back when the Truck Series started running on dirt, is that now we're running Mustangs and Camaros. When was the last time you saw a Mustang or Camaro on a dirt road?
Deadspin did a thing with a supercar on like a Lamborghini or something on at Eldora one time. I think I sent that. It was a couple years ago, but that's the last time I've seen a car.
it just feels like when we went to these.
It's not a late model. Yeah.
Yeah, when we went to these, muscle cars or whatever, that it kind of
even the trucks, feel like they should be going on dirt. I mean, trucks. That's what trucks do.
Yeah. As soon as we change the body styles on these cars, it seems less likely for them to be on dirt. And here's the thing too. Next year or after next year, we're switching to the new car, and from everything I've seen in that new car, it's not going to work on dirt.
Yeah, there's going to be a special car for this. Eric, I would have liked this better if it was an all-star type event rather than a points-paying Cup race.
I'm with you.
I don't know. I mean,
I give NASCAR credit for trying it. Give them credit for trying it.
Yeah, I want to see. I mean,
the thing is, I swear that they had problems with the dirt when they ran the sprint cars and the late models there the last time they did this. And these cars are like 3 times as heavy.
Yeah.
So like, what are these cars going to do this? I don't know. It just.
Well, to be also fair though too, the Outlaws were running on the old configuration of the track. This is a little bit less banking, so maybe that helps.
But they got rid of most of the banking when they ran that anyway. They weren't. That track wasn't 36 degrees banked when they ran.
We don't know. Yeah, we don't know what else is gonna. But I know NASCAR's doing this because they want to have. I mean, look,
NASCAR's doing this because Fox wants it.
Right, and
that's what it is.
Eric, guess what? Coronavirus ain't going away by March 28th of next year. So how many people are they really going to pack into the joint?
I don't know.
Are they going to stick to the 30,000 number? We ain't going to get 150,000 people in that place for a dirt race next year.
Yeah.
So, I mean, how is it even going to look on TV? I mean, geez. I mean, the things, Eric, you've worked at a dirt track. We've been to Eldora a bunch of times. You know the massaging that a dirt track needs.
Mm-hmm.
And the tracks that you worked at, and Eldora is the world-class facility of all dirt tracks. You know what it takes to make those tracks put on the shows that they do. That's why people love dirt racing, because you see some of the great stuff that Eldora does, and the Knoxville Nationals. I'm trying to think of a couple others. Even the Charlotte Dirt Track. They put on really great racing, and it's just it takes a lot. And to make this, basically, what you're doing here is you're bringing in dirt like a monster truck show, and you're going to try to pull this off for the premier racing series in the world. I don't know. There's a lot of problems, a lot of red flags here, but I mean, I don't know. I don't know what more we can say.
Yeah. Well, I don't think we can say anything better than what Jeff Gluck said. Jeff Gluck says covering Bristol Motor Speedway with dirt for a Cup Series points race is like painting over the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel with images of SpongeBob SquarePants.
There you go. Maybe SpongeBob will sponsor that race.
Maybe. All right. James, have you seen anything of Tony Stewart's response to this?
He has not said a word. I gotta imagine he's pissed about it.
I have a theory that NASCAR was really big on Eldora until the SRX thing was announced.
He probably ticked him off.
And suddenly now NASCAR is not so chummy with Tony Stewart.
There's 2 tracks now that I think that maybe we can get Tony Stewart out of retirement to run that Bristol dirt race, and possibly that. Well, we'll get to it. What's going on in Indianapolis? So, but anyway, that's. Yeah, I gotta imagine he's probably not happy about it, and I'm assuming Eldora's not going to be on the truck schedule. I have a bad feeling about that. So
yeah, I think so too. There's no reason to run trucks anywhere but Bristol at this point. Yeah. And why run 2 dirt races in the truck series? So we'll see.
Exactly. Yep.
We'll see what happens. Yep. May 9th, Mother's Day. For the first time since like 1970s, we're going to race on Mother's Day. It is a second date at Darlington. I'll grade this one first. I am going to go C. And the only reason I'm going C is because if you're going to give a track a second date, Darlington's the track to do it. But yes. I'm going to say this when we talk about Atlanta in a little bit. There is not a track in the Cup schedule that doesn't have a second date that should be getting a second date.
Yeah.
Period. So that's why this is a C and not an A. But again, if you're going to give a track a second date, there's not a better track to give it to than Darlington.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah, and I like it. I'll give it a B. I love Darlington. Plus the horsepower package. They're going to run 750 horsepower here. Yep. I'm excited about that.
Yeah, that will help this race a lot.
Yep, and it's apparent that NASCAR doesn't want to. They're trying to limit some travel here too, is what's going on. But
yeah, I wish they'd say that instead of Steve O'Donnell's BS that he's talking about going back to the roots. That's complete bull.
It's not what they're doing. Yeah, that's not what they're doing. No, that's
I love Steve O'Donnell, but quit lying. Just
it's not. It's a lie. It's not true. It's just not. They're not trying to right the wrongs of Darlington by adding a second date. There's other stuff going on here. But hey, we get more Darlington. I'm all for that. And I love that they're going to bring the 750 package. So yeah, I mean, we had 3 Darlingtons this year, and that was great.
Yeah,
I do love Darlington.
Yeah, the only thing that I like the shorter Darlingtons better than the longer one, but
yeah. But there are tracks losing dates. Then we'll get to it that that make me not love this as much, but that's okay. I mean, I'm okay with it.
May 23rd, Circuit of the Americas, new track for 2021. We are running a Cup race at the Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas. James, what's your grade?
A+. We don't have a second points-paying race at Texas.
Yeah. I'm with you on the A+. I've wanted to see the Cup cars on this track. This is a world-class facility.
Beautiful.
It's a Formula One track. It's good enough to be on the Formula One schedule every year. I'm a little bummed it's not on the IndyCar schedule this year. We'll talk about that in a little bit.
Yeah.
I've wanted to see these guys at this track since this track was built. I think it's going to be great. I really, James, hope they don't dumb this track down and let them run the Formula One layout. And the other thing that's interesting about it is there is a lot of runoff here. And if NASCAR holds true to what they normally hold, that runoff will be available to drive on. Whereas for the Formula One cars, you can't. So that's going to really create some interesting lines coming out of turns.
I wonder if they're going to turtle that place up a little bit.
They probably will. I'm sure there'll be some turtles down.
Yeah. Eric, sneaky fact: NASCAR racing is really good on F1 tracks. Yeah. We have a history of NASCAR racing on F1 tracks, and it's always been very entertaining.
Yep.
So I'm good with this.
Yeah,
I love this.
The 2 prior F1 tracks that we used to run in the Xfinity series, Mexico and Canada, are 2 of my favorite road course tracks.
I miss Montreal, man.
I like Mexico a lot.
Yeah, Mexico was great too. Yeah, they were great races.
And I guess we raced
Great
at
races.
Suzuka at one time too. That's also a Formula One
Yeah, that's
track.
true.
So
Yep, and those were good. Those were good races. Yeah, they raced twice out there for
yep.
that. Yep.
We already talked about this last week, but we'll throw it in here real quick. June 13th, All-Star Race at Texas Motor Speedway. I'll go first. I am going to give this a B, and the only reason I'm giving it a B, James, is because despite the fact that it's on a 1.5-mile track, A, you're going to have short sprints because this is an all-star race, so that will help. And B, you have Eddie Gossage, who is going to come up with the most gimmicky, ridiculous thing that you could possibly come up with to make this thing entertaining.
Yeah. And a possible Roval expansion
Maybe.
for Texas.
I think maybe a loop-to-loop on the backstretch.
Possibly. Can we figure eight them?
Maybe that would be great.
Here's my grade. That's it. I'm like Texas. Sorry, that track's been bad for a while.
I hate it too, but again, like you mentioned too, we lose the second points race there.
Yep.
I'm good with this.
Yeah, me too. I mean, it's the All-Star race has been. I mean, it was all right this year at Bristol. I thought it was a good show.
It's been pretty irrelevant for a few years. It's not going to be any less relevant at Texas.
Yeah, if you're going to have it at Charlotte and having it at Texas is just the same track, you know, basically. I mean, I know they're different in their own ways, but it's cookie cutter 1.5 miles.
It is weird to have the All-Star race so far away from home base, though, where, you know, this was the race that that the teams could go to, and you had the pit crew challenge and all that stuff back in the day, but
it just doesn't. Yeah, we don't have that stuff anymore. There's no pomp and circumstance around it anymore. So.
I have confidence that Eddie Gossage will at least make it entertaining, if nothing else.
Yes. Yep.
June 20th, we go to Nashville Super Speedway. Again, we already knew about this new track for 2021. James, go ahead. You go with the first grade.
I'll give it a C+. Yeah. Gets us in a good market in Nashville. The track's not the greatest track. We know that, but I was excited when they put it on the schedule because it showed that we were going to get some movement this year, and by God, we did. I don't love this track, but I mean, if this is the bridge to get us into the fairgrounds, then I mean, we got to be a little bit positive about getting a race in Nashville. Well, I mean, it's a great market for NASCAR.
I think this is a 3-year commitment, if I remember correctly.
Yep, and that's fine.
I'll give it a B. I think first of all, we have not seen a race on this track in years.
It's been a while.
So it's really hard. I mean, the package that raced here was the old style car. We don't know anything what this track's going to race like. Who knows? Maybe it'll be good. It probably won't be because it's concrete, but they're going to run the 750 horsepower package here as well. Low downforce, so a big plus on that. And then again, like you said, it's a new market, it's a new track. It's a 1.5 miles, but we just lost a couple. We'll talk about that shortly. So hey, I'm good with it.
Yep.
So
yeah, me too. Yep, I'm good with Nashville. Let's get the cars out there because NASCAR and country music have nice synergy. So I think a lot of people love that. I think a lot of people love that marketing opportunity. So I mean, heck, Eric Church just did a music video a few years ago and about Talladega, and it was filmed at Nashville Super Speedway. So
yep.
Heck, I'm all for that.
I'm all for resurrecting an old track too.
Me too. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's a lot of people disappointed Rockingham's not on the schedule, but who knows? I mean, NASCAR seems to be going crazy here. So
yep. June 26th, 27th, Pocono doubleheader. It is our only doubleheader in 2021. I'm just going to give it a B because I mean, Pocono is better as a doubleheader. They're shorter races.
Yep. Me too.
I think we kind of proved this year that as cool as the doubleheader thing is, it doesn't really work that well because you kind of know what you're getting in the second race because of the first race. I don't think there's enough of a change, so I'm all right with the fact that it's the only doubleheader. I'm more bummed about the fact that we're going to have a ton of single-day weekends. But again, if people aren't at the track like this year, I don't care. I only care if people are at the track. So
yeah, exactly.
I'm
good with this.
NASCAR's also trying to keep the costs down so they don't have to build extra cars and stuff because this car is getting phased out. So.
Yep, exactly. So, I'm good with doubleheader. I am surprised we don't have any other doubleheaders, though, because of how it worked this year. I just thought that we would see 2 or 3 of these. But, yeah, if you're going to do it at Pocono, I'm totally cool with that. A B for me as well. It's just this track's just tough. It's, tough to love Pocono, but at this point. But, yeah, I'm good with this one.
July 4th of July weekend, we go to Wisconsin to Road America. Another new track for 2021, another road course, one of 6 this season. James, what's your grade?
I love Road America. I'd say a B minus
Okay.
on this. I don't think it's an A plus decision here, but I think it's a great racetrack. Going to probably put on a pretty good show. It's it's one of the best road courses this country has to offer. It's a class facility, so
Yeah.
I think it'll be a good race. I mean, we've been doing Xfinity on it for a long time now, so I love this. This is good. Not a home run for me, but really good addition to the schedule.
My grade is a C, and it has a contingency with it. So my contingency is this is a C if we keep the rules as they are. If we start using local yellows, this becomes a B plus.
Okay.
Because
I like
this
that.
track
like
is
that.
so effing long
It's big, dude.
that when we have a caution, it takes forever.
Yeah.
Or at least if you're not going to do local cautions, then shorten the track. There are runoffs you can run through to cut the track in half under caution, so we aren't running 10-minute caution laps at this place.
This also goes into the Eric theory, which I'm fully on board with. No stages at road courses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
This falls right in line with that. So.
So I mean, this is a big plus, I think, other than those reasons, and also I don't like what we're losing to get this race. So
Me either. Yeah. I know.
So, July 11th, we have a second date for Atlanta. And I give this an E minus. Can I give an E minus?
You can do E minus,
F,
sure.
F.
Yeah, you can do F. Go ahead.
God, why in the? I know. Okay, so here's another Steve O'Donnell thing. Steve O'Donnell says it's because we want to give an original one of the early tracks back a second date. Blah 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 blah. BS. The reason this is because Atlanta wants to put a casino in, and this will help them with their stupid casino. This track is awful.
Yeah, I mean, it does put on a good show from time to time.
I don't think it does. I don't.
It's been a while. It's been a minute.
It's been way too long, and maybe it's the crappy aero package that we have. James, by the way, I don't know that I've officially come out on the podcast, but I am done with the low horsepower package. Let's just scrap the freaking thing. Be done with it. I'm over it.
No. I give this a fail as well. And it's because of the reasons that they're giving. They're going to get that casino in there, and they're trying to beef it up.
Yeah.
And I know Atlanta wants to do the reconfiguration, whatever the heck they're talking about doing out there. I know they want to repave and reconfigure and all that stuff. So yeah, the second race will help pay for those costs too. But yeah, this is all about the casino. This is all about marketing for that casino. This is all that. That's all this is.
Yep.
NASCAR sees the NASCAR is in the what's the word I'm thinking of? They're in the real estate business a little bit here, right? Is that kind of what's going on?
Yeah, I think that has
some value.
That has something to do with the. Well, I mean, first of all, this is NASCAR track. This is SMI, but I think that whole real estate thing has to do with why we've got the race in Wisconsin now too, and not in Chicago. But that's why we're changing California. So next up, we don't need to rate this one because it's the same as what was previously set this weekend or this year. 2 weeks off for the Olympics. I hate that, but whatever.
Yeah, we didn't get that this year like we were supposed to, but that's okay.
Well, we got what, 2 months off instead.
We got 8 months. Yeah, we got 8 weeks off instead.
August 15th, Indianapolis Road Course. What is this? You get first one on this one. This replaces the Brickyard 400, and it is considered a newish track for 2021.
I like that you put newish on there. I'm gonna put this as a D.
Really? I'm surprised you're going as low as you are.
No, because here's why. And I said this on the podcast before, so you can fact check me out there, peoples. I shed a tear a little bit for losing the actual Brickyard 400 oval.
I agree with you. I'm giving it the same grade, James. Because
okay, good.
Yeah,
good. I like the road course. I mean, it was great.
Same here. I think again, if you're going to add a second date to a track, add it to a new configuration, and this is a sample of that, where you could add a second configuration, second race in Indy, and run the road course. I'm okay with the road course.
People, I know that the oval for the Cup Series has been trash, but it's still racing the oval.
I actually liked the last few races on the oval.
It's not been bad, dude. It's not been that bad. I know it has its history. I know Tiregate and all that crap happened. Yeah.
Since the Wreckfest, the Casey Kane one, I think it's been a good race.
That was an insane race.
That one was awesome.
Yeah. I shed a tear. Eric, I shed a tear for the 400, man.
Yeah.
I do. I love
all
that.
I could think of, James, is what would Dale Earnhardt think?
Oh, smoke, and then Tony Stewart, by the way, is probably not happy about this.
Yeah.
This is another kicking dirt on Tony Stewart's shoes
Mhm.
here. Yeah. Um, yeah. I do like, though, we should talk about that they're going to combine this with IndyCar.
Yes, that is
It's
the
cool.
only good thing is that it is a doubleheader with IndyCar, so that's great.
Yep, Cup Series and IndyCar racing. So if you're a motorsports fanatic, this might be right in your wheelhouse.
There
It'd be a
were
good weekend.
there were some strong rumors, including thanks to Brett Griffin on DBC this week before this schedule came out, that they were going to do a doubleheader with IndyCar at Nashville on a street course, but we didn't get that. We got this instead.
Yeah, Jimmy Johnson's liking all this stuff, by the way.
Yeah, shoot. Again, we're going to talk about the IndyCar schedule, but there's hardly any ovals on the IndyCar schedule, so
Yeah.
Jimmy's gonna run pretty much the whole IndyCar season.
He's gonna run for the championship.
Yeah,
basically.
he'll probably have a shot at the title.
Yeah.
All right. August 22nd is the only Cup race at Michigan International Speedway for 2021, and I have not seen this officially, but somebody told me that there will not be a truck race with it. I get to grade this one first. I am going to go. Oh, damn. How do I want to grade this, James? Because really, I'm okay with it. I'm totally fine with it.
But the little kid Eric hates this, right?
No,
little kid Eric.
It's not that, actually. The reason I don't like this is because we added second dates to other tracks, and we took 2 tracks off the schedule. So, I mean, because of that, I've got to give this a D. If we didn't take tracks off the schedule, then I would give it an A.
If I was to go back in time and look at little Jimmer in the face and say, "Listen, there's going to be only one race here in a few years. I'm sorry, buddy. I know you like this place." I'd be pretty mad.
Yeah.
But Eric, here's the deal, though. We know this is coming, so that's why I'm going to give this a C, because I hate it, but I understand it as well. But we knew this was coming years ago. I mean, you could see this trajectory happening.
Right.
Michigan was always going to lose that date. I mean, this was 10 years in the making, honestly. So
yeah,
it's a bummer, but
yep. Playoffs remain the same for 2021. The only exception to that is Texas and Kansas will swap in the round of 8. We will still end at Phoenix. You get the grade on this one, James.
I get to grade this one.
Yeah, I know. I almost went with not grading it, but
I like the playoffs the way they are. So
Yeah.
the one swap is fine with me. Let's just give it a B. I think that's a good passing grade.
I will. It's hard to grade it because we haven't seen it fully play out this year, but so far I'd give it an A. I mean,
yeah, this playoff schedule is good. I would like to see us moving dates around a little bit more in the playoffs, just a little bit. But we're fine. We got really good. I mean, having Bristol as an elimination race was good.
Yeah.
We've got the Talladega and the Roval. This is my favorite round of the playoffs that we're in right now.
Mine
Talladega
too.
and the Roval. So, yeah, everything else looks good.
And then like next round, I'm not excited about until we get to Martinsville, and that's the final cutoff. I mean,
yeah, Martinsville's great.
So there's not much to complain about with the playoff schedule. I'm good with this.
No,
so
playoff schedule's good right now. I mean, I guess I would like to see Michigan maybe get into the playoffs now instead of like a Texas, but I don't know. I mean, that's
I don't know, man.
That's grasping at straws.
Yeah, I don't know. It's tough. I mean, I like Michigan, but I also know what the track produces, and it's just not a playoff caliber track right now.
NASCAR, that's NASCAR's fault too for turning it into a test session every time they go there. But
that is true. We haven't had a legit good package at Michigan in years
because of the crap that they keep doling out there.
Yep.
But Eric, we are at the point of the schedule. I am excited because this is what I've been waiting for.
Yeah. All right. So
just because you are so mad about this.
Yeah.
I can't wait. I cannot wait.
Chicagoland off the schedule. I give this what's the lowest letter? Z. I give this a Z grade.
Woo, Z minus.
Z minus. I think you got the first pick on this one, but I did it anyway.
It doesn't matter. We can lump these together if you want. Chicago and Kentucky.
I'm mixed on it though, James, because I'm much more disappointed with Chicago being off the schedule, mostly because I just recently discovered Chicago. I've been there the last 2 seasons. I love the track. I think from a fan perspective, and of course I haven't sat in the grandstands.
Push the button, dude. Push the button.
I think from a fan perspective, this is one of the best tracks. You've got a 1.5 mile track. It's a nice big track to showcase the speed of these cars, to showcase the cars on a big track. But the infield is low. The backstretch is curved. And it's just, the viewing is excellent for the fans. You can sit in row 2 with campers filling the infield and see this whole damn track. I'll tell you what, when I went there 2 years ago for my first race, I saw the writing on the wall on this thing. They had the scoreboard in the center, which you could tell was half broken. The sponsor billboard at the top didn't spin anymore. It still had a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles billboard on it, or Nickelodeon billboard on it from like 2 years prior. There's no pedestrian tunnel in the front stretch. It's all the way down in turn 1. This track was outdated, and you can tell they weren't putting the effort in to update it. And this one, I think we're in the same boat here as we are with California, that the property value here is much higher than what the track is worth. I do hope that we get something like California, that they come in and shorten this, make it into a short track, do something to keep it here and allow us to get a date back in Chicago just because it's close to Michigan. I mean, that's the thing that pisses me off the most, James, is that, I'm in Michigan. I am, 2 hours away from MIS. We had tracks 6 hours away from us. We had Chicago, Kentucky, Indianapolis, Pocono, Michigan. And now we just lost Kentucky and Chicago. And we did get it replayed. And we lost 3 ovals because we lost the Indy Oval too.
Yeah.
And I just think we lost one of the best tracks on the schedule. It's been great racing the last couple of years. But this track went from being a playoff race and having 2 dates just a couple of years ago to now not being on the schedule.
Just gone. Yep.
Kentucky.
Shocking.
Yeah, go ahead. Anything, do you want to comment on Chicago, or you want me to go into Kentucky first? And then
listen, I'm not as bothered by losing Chicago as you.
Right.
But I still think it's a this is probably a D for me.
I just think it sucks for this area of the country.
Yeah. And maybe, Eric, was NASCAR working in Chicago? When NASCAR moved the schedule, was it last year or 2 years ago, into the NFL season?
Right.
And especially with a sports crazy town like Chicago, where they've got the Cubs and everything too. I mean, NASCAR is just not on the radar for that area anymore.
It's not.
So.
It's not. And they ran this thing on basically 4th of July weekend the last 2 years. It was hotter than hell.
Your shoes melted. I remember that.
My shoes melted the first year. Last year,
So
it stormed in this race. I mean, most people left when the rain came, before the green flag dropped, or after. I think they ran like 8 laps and then pulled onto pit road, and everybody left, and so we didn't get to even see a crowd there. Didn't even know what we had. But the last 2 years, the racing has been great. We've had great finishes there.
Fly job.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that was where it was born.
Push the button. There it is.
This was Dale Jr.'s first race, first broadcast.
Yeah, it was.
So anyway, and then Kentucky Speedway, Kentucky being there, Kentucky was outdated when they brought the Cup Series there. It was a track that was built not to host Cup, although the plan was to host Cup eventually. And then it was updated, grandstands added, things like that to make it a Cup race. And there just were things that just didn't work there. The press box was in the lower level of the grandstands. It was really low. And then the race controls way up high. And this is me complaining as a media member. I had to go up 1 flight of stairs versus riding an elevator up to the press box. But I mean, I'm not complaining about it, but I'm just saying these are the types of amenities that you didn't have there. And I don't know, it's tough for me because it's the only SMI track I've been to. So I don't know how it compares to the other SMI tracks. Everything else I've been to is ISC. But this track, they repaved it. They killed it when they repaved it. It hasn't recovered. We had a great finish this past year. I'm giving this one a D.
Me too.
Because,
I'm right with you. D as well.
If you're gonna lose a track, I guess I'm more upset because this one's close to me versus the fact that it's a good race. But again, we're giving a second date to Darlington. We're giving a second date to Atlanta. Why are we taking a single date away from tracks? I get it. I understand. But I thought this track drew a decent crowd. I mean, it wasn't great, but it was decent.
Yeah, there was the first race debacle too for this one.
Exactly.
I mean,
but then they put a crap ton of money into this place.
They did put a lot of money into that
tons of
place,
parking in here. They widened the roads, and there wasn't a traffic problem anymore. Well, I take that back. When you got on the highway leaving that place, it still sucked.
Yeah, the racing product I think is a problem at Kentucky too. I mean, outside of
but how much of that is because of the stupid 550 aero package?
Well, you're not. Listen, you're not going to have any. I'm not going to fight you there.
I mean, that package doesn't work at this track.
No. Night, day, no matter
what. And I'll tell you what.
Know,
you watch the truck race there. Truck race is great. Xfinity race great. The Cup race sucks here.
Yep. because they screw around with the package so much.
Yep.
I understand.
I'm,
I
I'm
get
telling
you,
you,
man.
man. You want to reduce some horsepower? Slap that Xfinity. Let's just run the Xfinity package in the Cup Series.
Eric, can NASCAR screw any more stuff up with these racetracks?
And this is what frustrates me here. And this, those are the changes. That's what we get as
Big
far as
changes, yep.
changes for major changes for next year's schedule. Let's do this, James. Overall rating of the schedule changes. You want me to go first? You go first. I don't care.
Go ahead. You go, and then I'll go.
All right. Overall rating of the schedule changes. I will give it a B-. And my reasoning for that is that I like a lot of the changes that we got, but I feel like this is just another one of those NASCAR things where they're like, here, take all this great stuff, but let us kick you in the nuts real quick.
I love that.
You know?
Yeah, no, I get it, man. No, it's the same thing with NASCAR. They always give you they always give you a little piece of cake, and it's really good cake. And then you go to take a bite in it, and exactly, they kick you right in the.
I was
kick you right in
so
the nuts.
excited about this schedule change. And then I start hearing the rumors about Kentucky and Chicago both being off the schedule. Chicago didn't surprise me, but Kentucky came out of freaking nowhere.
Yeah, Kentucky did come out of nowhere when they lost their date this year. That was I'll give this a here's my grade.
Okay.
I'll give this a B+ for the schedule changes because here's why. Oh, NASCAR fans, the whiniest fans in all of sports. You wanted changes. Here you go.
Yeah.
You got them. You got a whole slew of them. So don't be griping at me on the old Twitter machine about this sucks, that sucks. I mean, Eric, we can critique it. I mean, that's what we're supposed to do here on this podcast, and we can. There's things we can like and not like, but I think as fans who wanted change, we got to be accepting of a lot of it. At the end of the day, we just have. I mean,
my whole reason for not liking this schedule is the fact that being from the area of the country that I'm in, I feel like I have been shortchanged.
I am with you 100%. I am with you 100%.
If I lived in, Kentucky, Kentucky,
the South?
I guess not. But yeah, if I lived in the South, if I lived over there in Bristol or Charlotte or somewhere,
Florida, Georgia.
Yeah, this would be great. Or if I didn't go to races. I mean, if I didn't go to races, I'd love this.
Yep, I do have optimism. I mean, as a person from the Midwest, it bothers me too. But I do have optimism that NASCAR is doing what they think it's going to take to put some life into this series that has been stagnant for such a long time. The Auto Club changes that are coming, the schedule changes, putting dirt at Bristol. I may not like it, but you know what? That's an injection of something that, may not rattle my cage very much, but to somebody out there, to a lot of fans out there, that's going to be real interesting, and that's going to be a very valuable ticket, and it's going to be eyeballs on the TV screen, and that's what NASCAR has been, suffering for, and they're starving for that, and now they've got it. They've got an injection of new blood. If COVID taught us anything, Eric, is NASCAR can do what they really can when push comes to shove. NASCAR really could do something with the schedule, and they did it. They did it this year.
It did help that they bought ISC. That was a huge thing.
Yep.
And SMI privatized as well. That both those things help.
Yep, it does help.
So, I think overall there's more positives in this than negatives.
Absolutely. Yep.
And then the nice thing is that Chicagoland and Kentucky aren't dead. There's always, if Nashville Super Speedway can do anything for us, it's to give us hope that maybe they'll come back. But I'm not optimistic about that either. I think Chicago's done. I think that track's gone. Real big bummer that Route 66 Speedway as well. I haven't seen anything official on the dirt track, but the drag strip is not going to run any races this year. The dirt track's a great dirt track. I'd really hate to see them lose that. They've run dirt races there the Saturday of the Cup weekend the last 2 years, and I've wanted to make a trip over there, but I'm usually so damn tired because it's so hot on Saturday there. Get done with the Xfinity race, and I just don't want to go to the dirt track. But I wish I would have, because it's a great ticket over there. There's so much stuff going on. That's the thing. Like, people are missing, and I think part of it is because it's Chicago, and people from outside of the area are like, I don't want to go to Chicago, but it's not Chicago. It's an hour out of Chicago.
Right.
They shouldn't have called it Chicagoland because it's not in Chicago. The traffic's not bad. The area, Joliet's a great town. It's an industrial town, but it's a great town. I stayed in a hotel about 20 minutes away from the track, and it was an easy drive, nice straight trip, not much traffic. It was great. So I don't know.
Eric, here's one last thing on this, and I don't know, but
So we trying to get me pissed again one more time?
Yeah, well, here's the thing: we give our buddy Todd crap for bringing the rain every weekend that he works at the Cup, that he works a Cup race, right? Every time Todd goes to the track, it rains.
Yep.
Eric, every time you cover a race, a track loses a date.
Wow.
You killed Chicago, you killed Kentucky, you wanted to go to Bristol and they buried it in dirt, and now
I lost the Michigan date. Yeah.
You lost the Michigan date.
Wow.
And you covered more Eldora races than anything, and who knows if that's even on the schedule anymore.
Wow.
So
what track don't we like, James?
I hope Todd hears that and loves that, because I was saving that for him.
What track do we want off the schedule? Texas? Do you want to send me out to Texas?
Yeah, go to Texas.
You guys pool the funds. I'll go there.
Yeah, go to Texas. Go to.
I guess we should note too with the schedule. The one thing I didn't note too is that Dover also loses a date. We knew that because that was part of the announcement with Nashville.
Yep. Same owners.
And I'm personally good with that because Dover doesn't affect me, and I think Dover is a boring race.
Yeah, Dover doesn't do anything.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Oh man.
All right.
There you go.
There's the schedule.
Schedule's out.
2021 schedule. You can, if you haven't seen it, you can view it on the show notes at thesuperspeedway.com or go to NASCAR.com. There's all kinds of stuff up there on it.
Kudos to Jordan Bianchi on this, by the way, because he was a day ahead of everybody.
Yep, Jordan Bianchi. Kelly Crandall had the entire schedule on a post about 4 or 5 hours before it came out. So she did good with it as well. But yeah, Bianchi and Gluck, they've been breaking some news, man.
Yeah, Bianchi's got connections, man. He's getting some stuff done.
And Athletic was even promoting it. So I think this might be a push from the Athletic to start breaking some news in NASCAR. So
he's kind of stepping in on Bob Pockrass's territory a little bit. I like it.
Right?
I like it. Jordan's good, man. He's doing good work.
Yeah. With that, we also yesterday got the I think it was yesterday, we got the 2021 rules package. We kind of already talked about it. Basically, it's the same rules package as this year, except with the race changes and things like that, and the fact that we're adding 2 Darlington races and a Nashville race, which will run the 750 horsepower low downforce package. We now have 23 of 36 races that will be low downforce 750 horsepower races. I think the fact that NASCAR kind of promoted that might lead you to believe that NASCAR has figured out that this package sucks.
And you know what else? Masks high horsepower versus low horsepower?
What's that?
Adding a bunch of road courses to the schedule.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, another thing that might lead you to believe that NASCAR might be backing off of the whole let's lower the horsepower to get other manufacturers in, when Honda announces it's leaving F1.
Took it from me. I wanted to talk about that. Yeah, Honda's not coming to Cup, people, just so you know.
No.
Eric, I wanted to ask you about that really quick. So Honda's backing out of racing to basically work on Mother Nature.
Yeah.
At what point do other manufacturers start concerning themselves with that type of thinking? Because that's an interesting thing for me. That's dangerous for motorsports.
The fortunate thing we have here in America is that we like to burn gas.
Yeah, we do, baby.
So our big manufacturers ain't going nowhere, James.
Yeah, it's true. That's true.
I don't know.
Yep.
I don't know. I think, NASCAR would do themselves a favor if they started looking. I mean, I'm not saying let's run electric NASCAR, but let's start looking at alternative energy and stuff.
Oh, yeah. They're looking at it.
I mean, F1 is very advanced in the electronics, and obviously we've got the Formula E series now too. I think NASCAR needs to be looking at it. If they want to attract these manufacturers, it's not going to be enough to lower horsepower now. Now you're going to have to put the technology in the cars that the street cars have too. So,
yep.
But who knows? That might be the plan with the new car. We'll see.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, I just saw that was like, oh man, Honda's that. I mean, that's big they got some big teams
there was a lot of rumbling when we first switched to this package that it was going to bring in other manufacturers. And I've not heard a single rumble from any manufacturer that's interested in coming to the Cup Series.
Nope.
So it's not doing what they wanted it to do. Big shocker there.
Yeah, that's right. Yep.
That being said, I still want to see more manufacturers in the sport, and I'm more willing to deal with this package than, and the thing is, like, somebody, I don't know who it was that tweeted it this week, but they said the problem isn't the 550 horsepower, it's how we're getting there. It's what
Yeah.
they're doing to the motors to restrict the motors to run this package. It's the aero package that they're running with it. It's not a problem to run low horsepower. The problem is that we are taking a shortcut to get there.
Yes.
So,
Yep. Taking pedal away from guys.
yep. It's you're wide open, and if you're not wide open, you're going to the back. And I love restrictor plate racing. I love Daytona and Talladega, but I like doing it 4 times a year.
Yep.
You know, we don't need to do it
Me too.
35.
Yep. Hey, I got a breaking news real quick. Kurt Busch on Fox News, our favorite outlet. Kurt Busch says NASCAR Cup Series cars will cook the dirt at Bristol.
Huh.
There's a video. I'm not going to play it, but
Interesting.
that's the headline. Yeah. Maybe I can send you the link.
Hmm.
There you go. I'm going to copy
Interesting.
it right now. So there you go.
Is
Cook
he
the
saying,
dirt.
Is he saying that because like it's going to be really good, or it's like actually going to hurt the dirt?
I don't know what that means. I don't know what he's talking about, but I'm going to send you an IM.
All right. I'll take a look at it. With the Cup Series schedule not to be upstaged, the IndyCar Series decided to release its schedule as well for 2021. And as many NASCAR fans who are excited about the NASCAR schedule, there's a lot of IndyCar fans who are not at all excited about the IndyCar schedule.
Yeah, man, they got neutered.
We won't grade all these, but we'll run down real quick. Double headers at Texas and Detroit. Texas on the oval, Detroit on the road course at Belle Isle. Only 4 oval races for a series that began as an oval-only series. 2 at Texas and 1 at Indy and 1 at Gateway. That's it.
Weird. Yeah.
No race at Iowa, which I think kind of confirms that Iowa is dead.
No Richmond either. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, Iowa, Penske wanted to stay at Iowa. There were rumors that Penske was going to try and buy Iowa. He said that the IndyCar Series should be there, and they're not there. So that's not a good sign for Iowa
Yeah,
Speedway.
that place is gonna be a parking lot soon, huh?
Yeah, well, it is right now. They're storing damaged vehicles there from a hurricane or something at the moment.
That's such a bummer.
Yeah.
That was a nice facility.
Yep. 2 races on the Indy road course next year. We're doing it this year, but that was because of COVID. Next year, it's going to be intentional.
Mhm.
A lot of people complaining about that, and only new track for next year in the IndyCar Series is the Nashville Street Course, which I think is pretty cool. I think the street course looks great, and it's cool that they're going to be in Nashville. No Circuit of the Americas, as I mentioned, next year for them, so that's a bummer. And you can view the IndyCar schedule if you want to by going to the show notes at thesuperspeedway.com.
Boom.
A couple other quick news items. Kyle Larson's looking to return to NASCAR, James.
No.
I have in parentheses in the show notes, duh.
Yep.
I don't know what else to say there, but
He's kissing the right hands
yeah.
to make that happen.
Yeah, he was just hanging out with Chevy, and he's going to be in that. He's going to be in whatever the 48 car becomes. Gonna
Yeah,
happen.
the 5 or 25 or whatever.
Yep,
Yeah.
I'm calling it.
Yep.
I would not be surprised to see Hendrick send that number with Jimmy and switch it to 5 or switch it to 88 and have Bowman in the 5 or whatever they're going to do.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense to have the twice 24 anymore. That since it's I guess Jeff Gordon still owns part of that car.
Yeah,
so,
that's true. That is true.
I mean, I guess that's the only reason that's why it's 48. It's the Jeff Gordon car. So, yeah, man, we know he's coming, and it looks like that. Yeah, it looks like that Hendrick deal is going to happen. So
Yeah.
cool. I mean, he deserves to be back, and he deserves to drive. Like him or love him or hate him anymore, you can't deny his talent.
Nope.
And his talent says he needs to be in cup. He needs to be in a cup car. So
Yep, I agree.
Yep.
2021, we already kind of mentioned this. 2021 could be the final year for Kurt Busch. I don't think that's a surprise. I think we've kind of been
Well, he's
waiting for
41
Busch to
now.
make an announcement.
Yep.
Good for him. I mean, we talked about it. He's been able to win, get a race win each season and have, decent performances and still be relevant at this point in his career. And if you're going to step away while you're still relevant.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's got one more year with Ganassi, and if that's the case, so be it. And Chip will be able to find some talent, but yeah. he's been really good for that team this year. Not great, but made the playoffs, and look at him go. He's in the round of 8. So
if he leaves next season and doesn't win again, he still will have won more closely to the end of his career than Jimmy Johnson. So
yeah, a lot of guys. Yep.
Unless Jimmy wins in the next 6 weeks.
Jimmy's. Has anybody has anybody publicized they've got a foot out the door more than Jimmy Johnson?
Right.
He's really, I mean, posting all these IndyCar stuff and
Yeah,
everything on his social media feed is IndyCar. Jimmy is checked out.
he's ready.
He's done.
Yep. Can you blame him? Last couple of years.
No, he's done, man. It's
blame
been
him.
rough. It's been
And
rough.
I mean,
he's done his
the
thing.
dude's got done everything he needs to do.
Yeah.
There is no reason he needs to win another race. He is the GOAT. Period.
Yep.
So,
Speaking of goats,
yeah, speaking of goats, Chad Knaus leaving crew chief duties at Hendrick Motorsports. He is being promoted, as is Jeff Andrews. Let's see. Knaus will be, where did it goes? Vice president of competition will be Chad Knaus. And Andrews is currently in that position. He is being promoted to executive vice president and general manager. Andrews is promoted immediately. Knaus is going to finish the season in the crew chief role before moving up at the end of the season. So
awesome.
Yep.
I love it for Chad. He's
Yeah.
done enough.
Yeah.
Done enough.
He has. Yeah, good for him. I mean, he's been in it for a long time.
You can't
So.
crew chief that long. I mean, as long as he did, it's
Right.
incredible. It's incredible.
This is a job that eats people up. It eats them alive.
Some of the greatest crew chiefs have had, they barely scratched the career that Chad Knaus has. Like Greg Zipadelli was a great crew chief and just was done.
Yep.
He was just done.
And Chad won
Rodney
before
Childers
Jimmy,
was-
so
Yeah, he did. Yeah, with Petty Enterprises back in the day. Yep.
Yeah. So, all right. Anything else? Any other news?
I did see really quick. Nothing. We don't really have to go into it too much, but RCR and Hendrick, they're combining the the Chevrolet manufactured engines, which is going to be good for both of those teams. Save some cost and things like that. Hopefully, improves performance for everybody.
Yeah, the more Chevy can work together right now, the better.
Yeah, they're fighting each other big time, and I think Rick and Richard realize enough's enough. We're eating ourselves doing it this way. So, yeah, it's good. That would be a good thing for Chevrolet.
Yep.
Ganassi got to get in on that train too. But
Yeah.
I think they get their engines from Hendrick. So
I think you're right.
Yeah.
All right. With that, we go to the greatest race of the season, James.
oh, it's right there. It's up there, isn't it?
It's pretty high. It's one of my favorites. It's definitely my favorite at this point in the season. Talladega is always my favorite race when Talladega is the next race. So Talladega Super Speedway, it is the Yellowwood 500, whatever the hell Yellowwood is.
EA Sports 500, people.
yeah.
It's the fall race. It's always going to be the EA Sports 500 to me.
There you go. Or the Winston 500.
It was the Winston 500 for a long time, probably before EA too.
Yeah. So last week James got the win in quotes because it wasn't actually a win. But James picked Kevin Harvick over Brad Keselowski to get a point on me and our picks, and I picked Matt Benedetto over James's Jimmy Johnson. So we stayed even again, 39-31 after 30 races.
It's looking like I'm not going to catch you.
Yeah.
It's probably not going to happen for me.
You got a chance this weekend, man.
Maybe.
Got a chance this weekend. I get the first pick though for the playoff driver.
Oh God.
And I don't even know who the hell to pick for this race. I'm just going to go with the guy who won it last year, and I'm going to go Ryan Blaney.
I like that.
Wait, he's out. He's out.
He's out.
Never mind. You can take Ryan Blaney. No, I'm not going to take him.
I could take Ryan Blaney. No,
Yeah,
you
you
can't
could
have him
steal
yet.
Ryan
You
Blaney
can't have him yet.
So in that case, I'm just going to go with his teammate. I'm going to go with Brad Keselowski.
Good. You're leaving me in a good spot. I want to take Denny Hamlin, but Denny Hamlin does not need to win this race, so I'm not going to take Denny Hamlin. I'm going to take a guy who probably will need to win this race. More likely than not, I want Joey Logano.
Yeah.
So I'll take Brad's teammate, Joey Logano.
Joey would be my other pick.
He's really good here, but you've got my favorite pick. I seem to always end up taking Brad at the big tracks. So, but I'll take Joey. He's really good here.
Now you got a chance to steal Blaney from me. So if you want him,
yeah. And I was really eyeballing Eric Almirola too, but I can't take him over Joey. So that being said, you wanted Blaney. I'll take him.
Yeah, I figured you would.
I'm going to take Ryan Blaney here. But there's some really good non-playoff guys that you got to choose from outside of Blaney.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go. I'm gonna stick with Penske and go with Matty D.
Yeah, I was gonna say you got the Rocket Man too, Ryan Newman.
Yeah,
Ryan
is a really good pick actually.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go Matty D just to go out on a limb a little bit and go with sentimental value because I want to see him get away before the end of the
all
season.
Penske for our picks.
Yep,
basically.
100% Penske.
Good deal. I like that.
There you go. You got fantasy league stuff up, James?
I got it pulled up. Yeah,
I did
not
crappy,
a good one
so.
for me. So I told you I had a funny story. I was looking at the end of stage 2, and I was like, okay, I want to put Matt DiBenedetto in my lineup. I don't want to sub out Joey. Joey's going to get that lap back. And I thought I could take him out for Austin Dillon. And I didn't do it, and it cost me. So I left Matt DiBenedetto on the bench.
You still did better than me because I tied Barron for last, didn't I?
You did. It was very close, but yeah, you tied Barron for last. Freight Train gets the win. Todd back up top. Denny the Many, Ranger Runyon. There's your top three. Our playoff standings. Todd is ahead of me by 1 point. So he takes the lead in the playoffs. Denny the Many third. And then overall season standings, it is Todd again. He sweeps the week. He is in first place. Ranger is right there behind him. Actually, not as close as it was. About 150 points behind, and then I am tagging along in third. So there you go. Eric, you had that win last week. I thought maybe you had something going, but fantasy is just fantasy.
We
got beat. There you go.
Yeah.
EB. KFB.
All right. You got any shout outs this week, James?
I wanted to shout out Eric for putting up with my crap. It's been really anybody who's got young children, especially an infant, it's a challenge. But Eric has been very good with working with my schedule, hence the reason we're recording on a Friday. So I appreciate you, man. Thank you for sticking with me on the scheduling of the podcast. So that you are my shout out. I don't know if we've ever done that before. But
no, well, no problem, and thanks for not leaving me completely alone at all through this. So
yeah, there you go.
I will shout out. I have a couple shout outs. I will shout out Erin, first of all, James's wife, because not only did she deal with having a new baby, but she's also had to deal with James.
That's right.
Crying.
Lots of crying and pooping and all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, and the baby too.
Yeah, that's right.
It's been a couple weeks since I've shouted out the Dale Jr. download, so I wanted to shout it out this week because Mike Skinner was on this week, and James, I don't know if you've had a chance to listen to it.
I didn't listen to this one. No, I am very far behind on my podcast listening.
So I was not like Mike Skinner. I followed his career a little bit, and I respect what he's done, but I almost wasn't even going to listen to it. But I had a chance to listen, and he told a story, Junior told a story on the podcast that I never knew, and it got me. I was shocked, and I'll spoil it for you guys. So if you want to hear it from Junior, listen to the podcast and just skip this part for like the next couple minutes. Or you can just end now because we don't say anything interesting at the end of the show anyway. So remember Dale Earnhardt's last race win at Talladega, right?
Yes.
He came from like 16th to first to win the race. Yeah.
I just watched that clip. I just watched that clip yesterday.
Well, you're gonna want to watch the clip again after I tell you this story. So, greatest win in Earnhardt's career, big deal. It's his last win. It's a huge deal that he came up through the pack like this. Blah blah blah. Kenny Wallace pushed him to the win. Did you know that Dale Earnhardt Jr. is largely responsible for that win?
Kind of, yes.
So as they were coming down the front stretch, Dale Jr. was pushing Mike Skinner coming out of turn 4 on the final. They were coming to the white flag. And as they're coming down the front stretch, Dale Earnhardt Sr. is on the outside of Mike Skinner. Jr. is pushing Skinner and having to make a decision. Do I push Mike Skinner to the win or what do I do? Well, he knew that Skinner and Earnhardt didn't get along.
That's right.
That Earnhardt was pissed and didn't want. He figured Earnhardt would be mad. His dad would be mad at him for pushing Skinner to the win over Earnhardt. So in coming out of the tri-oval, he goes to the inside, makes it 3 wide. He drops back to like 14th position. Skinner ends up falling back to like 4th. Earnhardt and Wallace jump out to the lead and get the win. Yeah. So I went back and watched it, and sure enough, it's exactly what happens.
Yeah.
Junior could have very easily pushed Skinner to the win. He said a couple years, if it would have happened like in 2004, he'd have probably jumped up in front of Dale and let Dale push him. But he didn't want to jump up in front of Earnhart because he figured he'd be pissed about that, and he didn't want to push Skinner to the win. So he kind of just tried to go to the inside and cost Skinner the win. Skinner said he was mad about it and didn't understand it until on the podcast when Dale explained it. And he goes, "Oh
my God,
it makes sense."
Eric, the driving by the Cup drivers in that race is just next level.
Dude, they're on the grass. Was it Kansas?
Yes, Kansas on the grass.
Yeah.
Yes, and there's no yellow line rule in that era. And those guys are just, the driving is just, and Dale Jr., how he didn't lose it into turn one on that last lap
Yep.
when he was on the apron, I will never understand. It's the second greatest, I guess, save. Not really a save, but remember Tony Stewart in the Xfinity Series race a long time ago, driving for Kevin Harvick. He was in the grass heading into turn one and somehow saved it. Ended up winning the race.
Yep.
Look that clip up. I can't remember what year it was. I want to say like 05, 06, somewhere in that era. But Dale Jr. not crashing is one of the great feats of driving that he's ever had. But
And I think Earnhardt did the same thing in an IROC car going into turn one. Dale
I think
Sr.
you're right. Yeah,
and won the IROC race.
Yeah, that clip is just last 5 laps are just.
I watched the last 10 earlier today just to confirm the story, and it was so good.
It's incredible.
Not to mention Alan Bestwick's on the call, so that's even better.
Yeah, and there's a really funny. There's a funny interview with Jimmy Johnson with like 3 laps to go that shouldn't be there because the tension's so high, and they're interviewing Jimmy Johnson who's out of the race. I'm just like, what? Or not Jimmy? It wasn't Jimmy. Oh man, who was it?
Yet.
Yeah, Jimmy couldn't have been Jimmy because he never raced with Dale. Who was it? I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah, Jimmy started in 02, right? I think.
Yeah, Jimmy was. Yeah, Jimmy. Well, Jimmy made some starts in 01, but
That's
it was
right.
late in the season. So, anyway, the version I saw, there was an interview with the driver, and I was like, "What the heck are we doing?" but yeah, anyway, it was good stuff.
So yeah, still learning stuff from Junior's podcast. I love that thing. There's so much good inside information.
Yes, Larry Mack was on there recently.
Yes.
Of course, our Ernie Irvin episode that I loved so much.
Yep. As a matter of fact, Ernie's son is racing with the Dirty Mo Media on the car.
Yep.
So it's pretty cool.
Very cool.
Yep. All right, James. I know you're not on social media much right now, but I saw a couple tweets from you. Where can they find you on social media?
At James Cush on Twitter.
You can find me at TSuperspeedway on Twitter. You can find the podcast on Facebook, facebook.com/TheSuperspeedway. Our website is thesuperspeedway.com. You can check out links to past episodes. Check out the show notes, which has links to articles we discussed, past coverage of races, photos, things like that, back when we were allowed to go to the track and fans were allowed to be there and all that. You can find the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, and SoundCloud, wherever you found us today. We hope you subscribe and continue to listen. And if you want to help out the show and become a part of it, you can do so at patreon.com/thesuperspeedway. Talladega Superspeedway this weekend, we get NASCAR Truck Series, Xfinity Series, and Cup Series racing on Talladega Superspeedway. What more could you ask for? We'll be back next week to discuss it all. Until then, everybody, let's go racing.